Hey guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to my channel, Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning back, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very, very much. I greatly appreciate your subscriptions. And let's get into today's forecast. So, the forecast today, even though it is a timeless message, it is originally intended for June 10th, Wednesday. So if you're seeing this on a date that's not June 10th, don't worry. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're out of touch or that this does not apply to you. You might be in tune with the message at the time that you're seeing it. That's why it's timeless. But for those of you that watch me regularly, this is a message for Wednesday, June 10th. So let's see what's going on in the cards. Okay. Interesting. So this is Metamorphosis. What card is this? Hold on one second, I need to look this up because this is sort of a strange name for a card. Let me see. I think in my Roman numerals that's card 13. Sorry guys, I'm not feeling it lately. I think it's all the stuff going on in the world. I mean, I'm trying not to necessarily use this as, so this is the death card. I kind of had a feeling. Alright, so, yay, our good friend Death is back. Okay, that's kind of what I thought it was, but I wasn't sure. And then I was like, no, it can't be, but it is. But she's back. All right, so let me finish my first statement. Everything that's going on in the world is just, I'm trying not to utilize these readings as a platform. I'm trying to keep my mouth shut. On my personal Facebook page, I am talking a little bit more about how I feel about what's going on in the world politically and how it makes me nervous. For those of you that watch me, if you're not nervous, I think that's great. I think it's better to not be nervous than to, be focusing on the nervousness. I teach you guys or try and tell you guys not to focus on that, and I'm trying not to myself, but it's really hard when my Facebook feed is just full of all sorts of stuff that I don't really know what to trust and what not to trust. Hence, now let's get into the reading. All right, so this reading, we have that we're now at Wednesday the 10th, right? And we have that underpinning energy from Sunday's reading of the Hermit, right? That Hermit card. So that Hermit card is definitely a withdrawal, a going deep within, something that, obviously I could even talk, like I just was talking about, sort of being confused by the messages that are out there in the world. I could probably benefit from going deep within my own self, right? And vice versa for you guys too. I think that there's an opportunity here for us to sort of gain better sense of self, better understanding of where we stand, how we believe, how we love, how we stand up for that love, whatever that love may be, I'm not trying to say there's any right way or a wrong way. I think that there is, duality for a reason. There's challenges and differences and individuality. All of that stuff is going on to help us sort of learn, grow, and hopefully we're learning about love and acceptance in the process, right? But, there are those of us that maybe aren't, that are resisting that and fighting against that. And so This card, Metamorphosis, it would represent like the death card, right? So this is profound change and self-awareness. Coupled with that Hermit card underneath this is a powerful day for us, guys. This is sort of a turning point. I think this is a point where some of us have to make decisions where we either let go of certain aspects, that would be the death aspect of this card, and head towards newer understandings of self, the Hermit card, or we have to sort of, change our habits, our thoughts. Something is going to be released. Something is going to be let go in the process of this day, right? And it feels to me like it would be something rather significant because these both being major arcana players, I don't think that this is like going to be a slight thing, right? I feel like, how do I want to say this? I feel like the path is getting like slimmer and slimmer in some ways, and that's sort of what this like crystal here, this to me it looks like, again, like another door that's set up on this sort of set of steps with this pyramid. There's a crystal and she's being released from the crystal, like through the doorway, like rising. Her spirit is rising. There might be an awareness in our deeper self, our soul, that we need to find through the Hermit, through the actions of the Hermit, that releases us so that we can attain our higher selves, that we can let go of certain things that are maybe no longer serving us, that are no longer working, and we can rise to the occasion of this metamorphosis, this change within us. Metamorphosis is like a total change, though, right? When something metamorphosizes, it's like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It's this change generally for the better, but it takes that sort of time where they go into the cocoon, hence that Hermit energy. And we go into that cocoon and we actively sort of seek out this change. We seek out this death. What is it that we can let go of? What is it that's not serving us? What is it that's holding us back? I mean, I don't want to get political, but I feel like I have to state this out loud. If you're saying all lives matter during this time, you sound ignorant. And if I'm offending you, anybody in specific, then so be it. But we all know all lives matter. And if you truly believed that all lives matter, you would have no issue with somebody taking up for black lives at this time, or for people of color, or for people of different sexualities. If all lives truly mattered to those people, they would not mind. They would get onto the forefront, onto the front lines, and start helping these people out. But generally it's those that feel as though they need to state that all lives matter, because that relieves them of any responsibility or any duty to having to challenge themselves, change themselves, look within, like the Hermit card, release whatever is no longer working for them or outdated in this death card, and grow. This is about the growth of the spirit. And there's a lot of us, I feel like, and I'm going to just say this outright, I feel like there's a lot of people still on this planet that want to call themselves spiritual people, that want to talk about how they're love of God, or they're this, or they're that, and they're not spiritual whatsoever. They're selfish, fear-based individuals. This death card actually, to me, sort of speaks to this idea of being willing to let go of whatever we hold on to so tightly that we think we need. Because there's nothing really that we need more than connection to our own spirit, our own awareness of what's good and right, that conversation to happen amongst the soul. Because our soul will guide us. And I mean, I don't even want to get specific because I'll just get fired up and upset. This is why I'm not doing lives right now, because I'm afraid I'll just make it too political. And most of the time I keep quiet so as not to upset people, because that's not my job. I don't feel like that's in line with my spirit or my soul, but I do feel like there are turning points that are taking place right now that if we don't talk about them, and we don't look at them, and we try and keep the status quo, we keep ourselves in the dark, we hold ourselves in a pattern that no longer serves us, that needs to die, so that others don't have to die due to our negligence. So let's see what the Starseed Oracle has to say. I mean, for each and every one of you, this card could represent something in your immediate environment that needs to die. This could also be something within your personality, within your perception. But again, the energy of the Hermit, I feel like it requires us to deeply go within and ask ourselves the tougher questions. What am I holding on to? What am I afraid to release? What am I afraid of that might die? What part of my ego doesn't want change for everyone? And change for everyone doesn't mean stating all lives matter. I mean, that's a moronic statement. We all know all lives matter. But if you're trying to justify staying on the couch or not supporting people in trying to better their lives through the statement of all lives matter, you sound redundant and ignorant. There's just people, I feel like, and when I feel it energetically through my empathy, there are people that struggle with this because they are afraid if they change or they let go of the status quo, if they experience this death, they might have to give something up in effort for someone else to gain the same rights or opportunities that they've had so freely given to them their whole life. That's not the case, guys. But your fear is telling you that. So whatever it is that you need to, let go of, let the change take place within your heart, within your mind, within your spirit, today would be a good day to do so. And to do it at a very deep, profound level with the energy of that Hermit. Go inward. Ask yourself. When you hear the phrase Black Lives Matter, why do you go to this place of all lives matter? Why is it important for you to state that? Why are you more upset about stolen goods than actual African American lives? Or any lives that are being taken during the overreach of police brutality? It doesn't even have to be African American lives. It can be white lives. It can be Hispanic lives. I'm not saying all cops are bad. I do think that there are many, many good police officers out there, but that's not the issue we have at hand. The issue we have at hand is we have lots of cases of people dying needlessly. And then other people want to say, well, all lives matter. Well, you're kind of contradicting yourself. Because you're not doing anything for the lives that have dropped dead in the streets on video. And it has to do with prejudices that you're holding on to, fears that you're holding on to, things that you need to seek deep within yourself and look at in that Hermit card, and then allow it to die. You're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, community. So while you're going through this metamorphosis, while you're looking at these things, while you to me this almost looks like, let me just move this card for a minute, to me this almost looks like the human body self talking to the spirit soul self. Like we're not alone during this process in the sense that we always have our spirit with us or our soul with us, right? Even though it may feel scary, we might feel like we're letting go of a piece of ourselves that has been ingrained in us for so long, right? Or a part of our culture or a part of our life that we're having to change, that requires us to feel painful things, right? I can only speak for myself. Have I said things that are off color, potentially racist? Have I behaved in ways that were ignorant towards others or people of color? Completely. But now it's sort of my job to acknowledge those things and actively produce something different, right? Produce change. Start to understand that I don't necessarily, how do I want to put this? I don't necessarily get to voice my opinion in how I think they should handle their rage, their anger, their sadness, their pain. Am I personally responsible for it? Not necessarily, but have I contributed to it involuntarily or indirectly? Very much so, probably. I mean, I'm still figuring out the ways for myself. But if we don't take that time and go into that hermit and have this sort of dialogue between our spirit and our human body, our human mind, and our spirit, our higher self, and allow that information, that's this like electric shock wave here. To me, that's this electric shock wave coming between the two, communicating between the two. I'm not alone. I have a soul inside of me that has a higher knowledge, that has a higher awareness. And my awareness is screaming at me from inside my body that what is going on in this world right now is not right. There's no I don't believe that there's necessarily one right way, but what I can control is how I behave, what I choose, and focusing my energy within my immediate environment to better that, right? To make every effort to make that better. So I believe all lives matter, yes, but I don't need to say that. I just intrinsically know that. I don't need to convince others of that, and I don't need to take from another's movement or another's attempt at trying to make their life better by making that statement. It's redundant, it's ignorant, it's ridiculous, it's a given. This stuff really upsets me. And I think part of it, I'm just going to be candid and honest with you guys, it's challenging me just as much as it's challenging everybody else, right? And I may be speaking to the choir, my viewers might get it, but I know that some of my viewers are quite also stuck in sort of this idea of, oh no, everything is fine. And everything is not fucking fine. There's something here that we need to seek deep within our souls. And we need to allow that aspect of self, that awareness to self, to metamorphosize and to change. This focus on freedom and family, generosity, where can we be more generous towards others? That's the theme, the grounding stone. Yesterday was family. I'm understanding that this family stone from yesterday is more about us finding family within the entirety of the planet. And I'm not talking about globalization, I'm just talking about our fellow man, regardless of their skin color, regardless of their sexual orientation, regardless of any preconceived notions that we might have been raised with by past generations that were just as ignorant, if not more so, than we are. It's time to evolve out of that. It's time to metamorphosize out of that. It's time to aspire to something higher, something better, something more in tune and vibrationally aware. This "you are not alone" card says to me that not only are we not alone because we have our own soul guiding us and our soul has that information for us, we need to sort of step into that and access that information, but we're also not alone in the sense that if others of us attempt to do this work or attempt to grow ourselves in this way, we're going to find that there's going to be a family, a community, a sense of well-being that pervades everybody and everything, and we get to a better place in the world. Less wars, less restrictions, less fear, less just all of the shit that we've been dealing with for fucking decades behind putting people in boxes and trying to like force people to be a certain way so that fucking white America feels safe. It's a bunch of fucking crap. And for those of you that I'm offending right now, the reason why I'm offensive to you is because it challenges your norms, and you don't want that challenged. Let's look at the grounding stone. These cards are telling me it's up to each and every one of us to do the work. And if we don't get to sit there and say, oh, all lives matter. Oh, this disgusts me. The focus today, as much as I don't sound like I'm in it, is joy. We can experience joy even when we're releasing intrinsically deep ingrained pieces of ourselves that we thought were what protect us or keep us safe. We can turn towards the idea of joy. We can turn towards the idea and ground in the idea that joy in our hearts allows us to be able to rise like this woman is rising up here, right? This aspiration to something better, to wanting something better. I'm going to say this, and it's going to offend maybe some of my viewers, because I know that you guys are Trump supporters, but that man is not taking us to something better. And I'm not saying you need to switch parties or any of that sort of thing, because I don't want to get into that, because I agree. I don't think the Democrats are much safer, quite frankly. I think that we're in a broken system made by fucking broken men that was created many decades ago, lifetimes ago, that, you know, we're still trying to live by and make fit and work in a culture that's way multicultural, with different ways of information traveling. Like everything else on the planet is evolving except for our governments, except for our perceptions, and we need to bring those forward into current present time. And the best way to do that is to experience this energy of joy, to vibrate at that high level joy, so that we can learn that it's okay, that we're not alone, that maybe we've made mistakes. We can allow ourselves to have made those mistakes, honor ourselves and those around us by admitting to those mistakes in whatever way we see fit. We don't have to verbally admit it, but we can just begin to act differently. That can be enough of a sort of an apology or an acceptance of who we are, and an attempt to aspire to something better. And from that, I feel like we also open the gates for that joy to flood in, right? We take that shame, we take any sort of weird shit that we're feeling behind, you know, past behaviors or what's going on in the world. It no longer is ours, right? It's sort of like, you know, how do I want to say this? Like, I'm getting this visual of, like, it's sort of like a disease that resides within us. And so as we start to voice it out or change it and actively work towards healing ourselves, just at our own personal level, we like remove that from our space, from our energy system, from our perception of self. Therefore, we're freer to live in this energy of joy. We're freer to feel less alone. We're freer to rise and feel lighter and happier, and just freer in general. We're able to connect to others in ways that we maybe haven't been able to because we haven't felt safe because of the experiences of our life. Right? I think that this Wednesday is a really profound day with this energy of this hermit, this energy of metamorphosis, and this you are not alone card. Remember that your spirit is guiding you. Tap into that joy and bring that to the planet, and try and find the answers to you, for you, that make the most sense. My personal opinion, and this maybe is only opinion, and for those of you that feel this way, that I've offended, I apologize, but for those of you that feel the need to sort of protect what's in place right now and fear change, all you're doing is you're holding archaic sort of systems in place that were set up for the benefit of one aspect of society and not for others. And those things need to come down. They need to change. And if any of you listen to me on the regular, and any of you trust me or understand where I'm coming from, then you'll understand, whether you're offended or not, that I mean no harm by this. I just think that this is part of my job, is to not sit silent and allow this stuff to go on. And there's a lot of that going on in the world right now. All right, I'm going to leave you with that because this has run long. I hope you enjoyed today's reading. If you haven't, then I'm sorry. You know, I may not be the reader for you, and that's okay. But I do feel like there's a pivotal change that's about to happen. If you want it, and you desire more, and you want more joy, you want the ability to feel more joy and more freedom in your life, there's some things that need to be shed that hold us down. But we have to go inward and do the work. We have to acknowledge the sickness that is inside of us, or whatever is holding us back, the fear of change, all of that stuff. All right, that is your forecast for the day. Sorry that it got a little political. It's just, I can't help it. It's what's going on in the world, and we're all affected by it. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. I love you. Bye-bye.